GOAT here, the greatest of all time, baseball traveler. Before it was baseball, the first sport that me, the greatest of all time, sports fan traveler, saw baseball on 6 continents. And one of those places I'm at now is not exactly to Americans known as a baseball hotbed, but I'm going to show you it's a little bit different than you might think. Where am I? I'm not in Australia, I'm not in Europe, I'm not in North America, I'm not in South America, I'm not in Asia. And sure as heck ain't in Antarctica. I'm in Africa, baby. What? That's right. I'm in Africa, and I'm going to show you there's not 1, not 2, not 3, there's 4 matches going on at the same time. 2 Little League matches right here, 2 non-Little League matches, older children going on up here, like teenagers. I am in Boksburg, B-O-K-S-B-U-R-G, which is a suburb of Johannesburg, the largest city in the Republic of South Africa. Not the capital. The capital is Pretoria. So you've got a match going on right here. I'm going to spin the camera around momentarily. You're going to see, I believe, we've got some girls playing here. So not just young boys, but girls. Now, truth be told, South Africa is not a baseball hotbed. Never is, has been, isn't now, and never will be. However, it's a niche sport. In fact, go back to the 2006 World Baseball Classic. Remember the inaugural World Baseball Classic? South Africa was invited. Now, they haven't been back since because they put in a qualification system. But MLB was very smart in the sense they're trying to grow the game. And so South Africa was in that first WBC, which had 16 teams. The other 2 teams were from Europe, Italy, and the Netherlands. And again, there's a qualification process. South Africa's yet to get back. And a few guys from South Africa have gone on and played in the major league, minor league system. And there's a pin. Base hit up the middle. So I'm going to spin around this way. You're going to see a Little League match here. I'm going to spin around this way. This is like the main field. And then I'm going to spin this way. You're going to see a little practice field. And then again, you're going to see a Little League field. Now I'm going to keep my head up because they were throwing the ball earlier. So follow me as we spin around. So as you can see, oh so pleasantly, lots of baseball going on. I spin this way, you see Little League going on over there. You can see the brick building here on the facade directly behind the camera. That's like the main clubhouse area, and that's the main field. Little practice field you probably couldn't see, but beyond what looked like batting cages, outdoor batting cages, there are some folks practicing. And then obviously the Little League field here, and now we're back dead red to where I am. So it is a Friday in honor of Barbara Wawa. This is 2020. It's a Friday, 21 March, 2025. After 52 hours in detention in the Central African Republic, I'm staying alive. And so it is, interestingly, a morning. And there's a base hit, or an error, however you want to say it. So it's 10:02. All these games began at 9, I believe, based on my contact, who I have to say hello to shortly, named Danny. Everybody here has been very friendly. Now, this is not my first foray to see baseball in South Africa, because at the beginning of this video I pointed out that the first sport where I saw baseball around the world in every continent was baseball, was Africa. Why? Well, in 2006, ESPN hired me to write the profiles for all 16 countries that participated in the World Baseball Classic, the inaugural one, which was invitation only. Since then, there's been a qualification process. And as I said, South Africa was invited. And why did ESPN hire me? Because I'm pretty, like a girl. No, they hired me because I was the only reporter, probably on Earth at the time, that had seen baseball around the world, and certainly one that had journalistic credentials. And I've been writing since I was 17, brother. And I'll be 53 in 4 days. So those profiles, they're not really on the internet anymore. Maybe through the deep web, deep search. I also wrote them again in 2009, so I worked as a freelance for ESPN 2006, 2009, and I did some hoops for them, one story in 2011. Such is the life of a freelance writer. Up and down, down and up. So, South Africa was invited to that inaugural tournament. In fact, the highlight of South Africa's match in the 2006 WBC is they were leading, "Oh, Canada," in Scottsdale, Arizona. And the Canadians, that was a team that had Justin Mordeau, Jason Bay, I believe, was on that team, Matt Stairs. They had to rally to beat South Africa. South Africa put up a great fight. And I remember at that match, Mexico was in that pool. There was a pool in Phoenix area. Mexico played the U.S. in Phoenix, I think, earlier that day, it was earlier that day. The Mexican fans at Scottsdale Stadium where the Giants do their spring training, "Si, se puede, si, se puede," which is yes, you can, to the South Africans to pull off this major upset. They didn't, but it was a very competitive game, and it's a credit to, if you put an investment in a non-baseball country, what can happen. The challenge that South Africa has, like any country outside of North America, is baseball is a very hard game to learn. It's a game of failure. Guys in the Hall of Fame with 300 batting averages, they failed 2 out of 3 times, right? Baseball's a hard game to master. You throw in the equipment, you throw in the necessary fields. Here, this is a great complex. You can see the fields are well manicured. You can see there's well attended. There's a lot of cars here. So South Africa, this is a former British colony. So you've got, as in most of Africa, soccer, or what the world calls football, what Americans call soccer, is the #1 sport, and that's the end of the inning. And then you have rugby. I'm going to go ahead and spin the camera this way so we can see a little bit of this Little League. Hang on one second. So the 2 major sports here in South Africa are football, soccer, and rugby. Now, you know anything about South Africa, there was the apartheid, right? Until Nelson Mandela led this sort of movement for equal rights for African Americans. So among the blacks, the African, we wouldn't call them African Americans, in the US they're African Americans. Among the blacks in South Africa, football, soccer is the sport. Among the whites, or the Afrikaners as they're called, it's rugby. Great movie to watch about South Africa, and the whole transition with Mandela was Invictus. Morgan Freeman was in that movie. Matt Damon was in that movie. Watch that movie, Invictus. Very good movie. And of course, South Africans, you've got Gary Player, who was a good golfer. Ernie Els, I believe, is from South Africa, another golfer. We've had South Africans that are very good at tennis, other sports. So baseball is going to be a niche sport, just like it's going to be in Europe. Whether that's the Czech Republic or Czechia or Germany or Spain, football rules the roost in Europe. And in South America, obviously on the Caribbean coast, you've got Colombia, Barranquilla, Cartagena, that's a baseball stronghold, but most of Colombia is a football country, let's be honest. And then of course you've got Venezuela, where the American oil workers taught baseball to Venezuela. Venezuela is really the only country in South America. In places like Brazil and Argentina, they play baseball. I've been there because I'm the GOAT, I've been everywhere. But it's a niche sport because football rules the roost in Argentina and Brazil. So there you go, boys and girls. Little educational history, little league going on. I'm going to spin around a little bit more after these 2 young ladies pass, so I'm not filming minors up close to be respectful of their parents. I figure I'd come in front of the camera, so I have no choice. So I'm going to spin this way right now, and then spin back around. Now they're coming this way, so we'll wait till they pass. Beautiful day here. It is San Diego weather. I brought the San Diego weather because I'm the greatest of all time. Sports fan travel. It's light breeze in honor of KUSI forecast, the late John Coleman. And it's nice and sunny. And speaking of rugby, I'm hoping to see a rugby match mañana. And speaking of goal, I'm going to see hopefully the South African men's national team this evening, about 3 hours from here. So I got to get going pretty soon, sugar. So I'm going to go this way. You're going to see the batting cages in the foreground. You got some kids like from The Sandlot. Remember the movie The Sandlot? Great baseball movie, right up there with Field of Dreams and The Natural. You're going to see them. I'm going to spin this way this time, the opposite direction. So you see what's going on because they're warming up here. Follow me as I spin the camera. So now we're back, boys and girls. I'm going to probably carry the camera around a little bit now and see what else is going on. This game is between innings. We shot a little bit of this. I'm going to go over this way, show you a little bit of the Little League going on over there. Keep this thing on a continuous loop so you really get a sense for what's going on here on a Friday, 21 March 2025, here in Boksburg. Great to be back in South Africa. First time I visited was 2004. Now, when I came in 2004, I did not see baseball here. I saw it in George, which is along the coastline. I think it's like maybe 4 or 5 hours from Cape Town. And then I believe I did see also some training in Cape Town. But 21 years ago, forgive me, I have to look at my notes. Where are my notes? I need my notes. Follow me, I'm gonna put on my hat, some my Padre head, don't get so red. And 1 second, please. Okay, boys and girls, we've seen enough of this game. Let's go this way. Follow me as we go to the Little League field. Kind of aluminum here because you can hear the ping. As you can see, the parents are supporting their kids. Most everybody here is basically under 18. Some probably under 12. So no adults here, but if you're going to grow the game outside the U.S., you've got to have the younger generation playing. Right now I'm in the weeds. Hopefully I don't fall. I used to be athletic. Sometimes I'm kind of pathetic and klutzy. I'm still the greatest of all time. Clementine, blow your mind. Boys and girls, if you look in the distance, let me set up the tripod here. So boys and girls, if you look in the distance, you can see that is a multi-use football stadium. I actually drove in from that direction. And I don't know if you can see, I don't know if they're still out there. But you can make out a soccer net, right where that white car is, right about over there. So there was guys training for football there. But this whole complex, in fact, there's another field here I'll point out. Go away, ant. So this is a huge baseball complex. When I was in George, 2004, I don't recall it being this big. I don't recall there being more than one field. In fact, the field I recall, I mean, it wasn't really designed for baseball. So this is pretty unique. We're going to go over to the main stadium momentarily. I'm going to spin this way. You can see a father and a son, I'm assuming, throwing catch, and then we're going to head this way. How about the fans cheering? Yay, yay, rah, rah, the goat is here. Mr. Sports Travel in Boksburg, South Africa. I am the greatest of all time. Yes, I am Clementine. So boys and girls, this is the main field here at Boksburg. You can see a glass enclosure up there. Let's watch some baseball on the main field. Now you might be wondering, because I am the greatest of all time sports fan traveler, have I actually seen baseball in other parts of Africa besides South Africa? Is that a trick question? Of course I have. Did you know, by the way? Hold on one second.
Then the front part will be vibrating.
Go.
That was a good AV by number 74 there. I moved out of the way because these people were talking. So as I was saying, Mr. Sports Travel, have you seen baseball in other parts of Africa? Is that a trick question? Of course I have. Did you know that the LA Dodgers, I'm from San Diego, so I can't like the Dodgers, but to the Dodgers' credit, they were the first team to see the beauty of international baseball. Remember all those guys, right? Chan-Ho Park, Korea, Hideo Nomo, Japan. But wait for it, the Dodgers have an academy in Uganda. What? I can't make this up. The Dodgers have an academy in Uganda. Now, Uganda's in East Africa. I'm in Southern Africa. Why Uganda? The Japanese have coached a lot of the Ugandans in baseball. And so there's a lot of talent in Uganda. Yet to see it, obviously, in the big leagues. We probably won't see a lot, right? The Dodgers made an investment in Uganda. I visited there in 2005, the year after I came here. I did not go to the Dodgers Academy. I don't think it was built then. But I did see baseball in Kampala, which is the capital of Uganda. And I do have pictures from that. And there was a lot of talent there. And one of the coaches there was from Japan, and he'd been there for a couple of years. And the Japanese, you know, they have really coached not just in Africa, but they coached all over the world. Because Japan, obviously, baseball is the #1 sport there, as it is in our country. And Japan has obviously been highly successful in the World Baseball Classic. They have more wins than we do. Americans only won once. So I've been to Uganda to see baseball, and I've been to Kenya to see baseball. Kenya borders Uganda as the inning comes to an end. In Kenya, I saw baseball at a tribal area outside the capital, Nairobi. You have to just go on the Kenya page and see the pictures of the face paint. The story that I've told, and I'll tell it again here, is after, it was basically a friendly match. After the friendly match, all the kids started grabbing my arm. And I'm thinking, are they mugging me? But then I could see the contacts that I had, the teachers, the coaches, the folks with the Baseball Federation of Kenya going, they're smiling. I'm like, okay, well, they're not mugging me. Then what's happening here? These young boys from this tribal area in Nairobi, and it was Eastwood area, they had never touched the skin of a white man. They wanted to touch the skin of a white man. Can you believe that? In America. That's culture, man. That's the way it is. I remember when I was also in Kenya, this is unrelated to baseball, I went to one of the national parks there where all the pink flamingos are. And I remember my guide in Kenya and some other parts of the world, you can have multiple wives. This guy had like 6 wives. And then we ate our meal with our hands. Where, I think it was green beans, something to that effect. No utensils. But that's travel, like that's culture. You're learning about stuff. So, having a great time here in South Africa. I just figured I'd keep the video going. As you know, my mission is to educate. And while I am the greatest of all time sports fan trapper, the best way for me to educate is for you to watch and judge for yourself what you're seeing. And obviously gives me credibility to show, hey, this isn't photoshopped. I mean, this is the real deal. Check out my Aberdeen, I think it's my Aberdeen Ironbirds hat. But don't quote me on that. I've been to so many minor league, independent league, college baseball in the U.S. I could be wrong. So Aberdeen Ironbirds, don't be offended. As you can see, it's a little dirty. But having a good time here. We're going to watch a little bit more, and then I'm going to find my contact and say hello. You can see Fidos are welcome here. So you got a lot of dogs and things of that nature. I'm going to spin this way so you can see the training. I was up there earlier and really see the training going on here. So before the thing kicks up, let me do that. How about the Indians on the coach there? Political correctness has not reached the Republic of South Africa, at least not with the baseball uniforms. So you can see the training over there. Little Tykes. I believe there is another set of games after these games are done, but then I guess a few teams pulled out. I'll have to ask my contact. But man, what a beautiful day, beautiful weather. I drove up this morning from the Drakens. Watch some of those videos and let's watch some baseball. South Africa style, baby.
Hi, how are you?
Good. What's up? Are you Danny?
I'm Mandy, but I've been on the emails.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, and so my background is when South Africa was invited to the World Baseball Classic in 2006, because I was the only reporter in America that went around the world to see all the players that were invited, I wrote the profile. And then I also wrote the next year in 2005.
Okay.
So I first visited here in 2004, not here, but I saw baseball in Georgia.